Because future-looking statements are inherently subject to risk and uncertainty, our reminder is that you should make any purchasing decisions or investment decisions based on products that are currently commercially available.
Hi, I'm Purvi Desai, and I'm on the Service Cloud team at Salesforce. Today, I'm excited to talk to you about some best practices for setting up your customer service console, and I'll be showing you a few out-of-the-box tools available to help your agents solve issues faster. So let's dive in. Now, as an admin, you wear many hats. You're essentially a product manager, from gathering requirements to configuration to implementation roadmap. But today, we're going to focus a bit more on a particular piece of your job, the user experience. And at Salesforce, we have a UX team dedicated to ensuring that users have the most optimal experience when interacting with all of our products. And we drive those experiences with our core service personas that you see here on the screen. Case solvers spend a lot of time in Salesforce and mostly support customers on channels like phone, email, and digital channels. Case solvers are significantly more likely to support short, moderate, and ongoing customer interactions. So to get the info they need up front is really important, especially in the current environment where many of your support teams are experiencing a higher case volume. Expert agents have more specialized knowledge and typically support ongoing cases over non-real-time channels. So they collaborate with and support case solvers, and they typically take over escalated cases for them. In addition, they are the main contributors to the knowledge base, ensuring case solvers have the most up-to-date and relevant information to help them solve cases. Lastly, team leaders focus on helping their teams be successful and ensuring they're on target. Reporting is critical for them to track performance and identify issues quickly. So, given the traits of all these personas that we've spoken about, how can you, as an admin, build an optimal experience for them? Well, we believe there are three main things to keep in mind. Actually, four. First, customize and personalize each persona's experience. One size does not always fit all. Second, give users the information and context they need to dive into the issues as quickly as possible and keep them front and center. Lastly, provide time-saving shortcuts with automation and artificial intelligence. But what's most important when creating these experiences is to meet with your users early and often and get their feedback so you can be sure you're building an experience that's going to help them be more productive and meet their needs. So let's now dive into a demo and see how to put these best practices, into practice. All right, as we touched upon earlier, different personas have very different goals and day-to-day tasks and need tailored experiences in order for them to be as efficient as possible. A great way to deliver that is to create custom page layouts and assign them by Lightning app being used or even by profile. So let's go ahead and create a new record page for our case solver. And next we're going to choose our page template. There's a lot you can choose from here, but I think a good choice for cases is the pinned left sidebar layout because pinned regions keep the content on them always visible, ensuring users have the info they need at a glance, even if they open up different tabs. Now we're ready to start adding some goodness to this layout. So on the left-hand side, we have a list of all the pre-built components available to choose from, as well as a handy link to the App Exchange. Now, oftentimes, agents are measured on how long it takes them to respond to a customer, so we really want to draw their attention to the most critical information first, so they can dive right in and start helping the customer. And because people tend to read from left to right, we recommend putting those contact and case details in the pinned region on the left, so it's the first thing they see. So let's go ahead and add in those using the related record component. Now, keeping with the theme of things agents are measured on, the milestones component helps them stay on track with SLAs and lets them know how much time they have left to meet each step in the support process. So let's go ahead and add that in too. And now we want to give the agents all the information and context they need, but we also don't want to overwhelm them and inundate them with endless scroll bars. So that's where accordions and tabs come in handy to really maximize your real estate. So let's go ahead and add in an accordion and add more contextual information to the left here. So as we talked about, you can customize experiences using different Lightning apps and page layouts. But if you're using one page layout and one app makes more sense for your business, there's another way to customize this experience for different personas, and that's with conditional visibility. Conditional visibility enables you to tailor what components are shown and hidden based on a set of rules you define. So the same work item is tailored for each persona that works on it. Let's add in the related opportunities to this layout, but make it only available if the case is escalated to an expert agent. More details like opportunities could be great for expert agents, but it might be overkill or a distraction for case solvers. So conditional visibility really helps you strike that right balance. Next, let's add one of my favorite components, the Community 360 component. If you have self-service with Community Cloud, this component is a must-have for your users. And here's why. Community 360 gives agents a window into a customer's activity within your self-service portal, like what articles they've read, what forums they've participated in. So agents can be proactive and not telling a customer to try something twice or read an article twice. Now let's move to the center of the screen. Another great component to show details quickly is the Highlights panel, which we'll place at the top center. It provides details of the record and also services quick actions in an easy-to-find place. Let's add some tabs in here and add the case feed so the agent can see the last response from the customer or another agent on the case. For real-time conversations like chat, mobile messaging, or voice, you'd want to replace this feed with a transcript. Another option for real-time conversations is to use a pinned right region and pin that conversation to the right-hand side of the screens. But remember, get feedback from your users on what works best for them. Another thing service agents are measured on is the time it takes for them to resolve issues. And many companies are facing increased volumes like we talked about earlier. So efficiency is more important than ever. So let's add in some tools to help them find answers and take actions quickly. The first component we'll add is the knowledge component. It takes all those articles that your expert agents are creating in the knowledge base and surfaces the most relevant ones. And we're actually going to take this component to the next level with AI in just a bit. All right, now let's add the actions and recommendations list. The actions and recommendations list surfaces any applicable processes and next best actions an agent can take to help them solve an issue, gather more details, or offer a promotion or an upsell opportunity. These processes are built with point-and-click tools in the Lightning Flow Builder and Strategy Builder that's accessed and set up. All right, this is looking pretty good, so let's go ahead and save it. Now, we've talked about how to create personalized experiences, and we've talked about adding contextual information and tools, but now let's dive into those time-saving shortcuts, and that starts with macros. Macros help save time and add consistency by automating repetitive actions and tasks with a single click. Here we're looking at the macro builder, where instructions for macros can be added to the highlighted regions. The example we see here is a macro to close a case, a common use case. It's going to update the case fields and even automatically prepare an email to send to the customer. And with conditional logic, we can actually take this one step further and choose which action to take based on certain case criteria. Other popular use cases you can consider for macros include case escalation and task creation. And if you aren't using macros today, I highly encourage you to go get started and try them out because we hear from our customers that their agents absolutely love them. All right, now we're ready to move on to the next phase of our time-saving shortcuts, powered by Einstein AI. Did you know that if you have a Service Cloud UE or EE license, you already have some Einstein AI included in your license? That's right, Einstein. Einstein article recommendations and case classification are included in those licenses for free. Einstein article recommendations intelligently surface the best article to agents as they work in the console, based on how articles were used on past cases. And Einstein case classification intelligently triages cases by predicting relevant case details and routing them to the right team for the job. This reduces the time agents need to spend on finding answers and filling out case fields, which honestly sometimes is a lot. And the best part is both are set up with clicks, not code. So let's go turn it on. Here we're looking at setup. Let's go ahead and navigate to Service Cloud Einstein and click on Article Recommendations. To get started, simply toggle it on. Einstein will analyze your past cases and identify the articles that help solve them. You can also give the model more data by identifying the text fields on your case that will have the most relevant information, like the subject and the description. and the fields on your knowledge articles that are most relevant for solving customer problems, like article summary, like you've seen that we have done on the screen here. Now, once that's done, Einstein will build a model, and once it's ready, you just need to activate it. Now, case classification has a similar setup flow, where you add the fields you want Einstein to predict, and it will analyze past cases to build a prediction model. It's best to have at least 1,000 closed cases in the past 6 months with non-empty subject and description fields before building your model. All right, so we've created a personalized case layout with the right context and tools and have provided time-saving shortcuts with automation and AI. Now, let's see everything we've done in action. Now, when a case comes in, the agent has all the information they need in one place. Case fields are already filled out, saving them time, and a knowledge article is even recommended to help them take action and resolve the case. Finally, they can close this case out in one click with macros.
So that was a great session, and thanks for sharing those tips and best practices. But really, I have a few questions. So before we wrap the session up, I thought the personas you shared were particularly interesting, and I'm curious, how in the Service Cloud UX the team identified those.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, our UX team identified our service personas by conducting a research study with many of our customers across location, business size, and industry. So, we had a nice sample. And they actually first asked how often they performed 9 core tasks and then ran a factor analysis to understand which of those tasks tended to occur together. And then emerged our 4 service personas. And you might be raising your eyebrows at the fact that I said 4, as I only showed 3 in the session. But the fourth one is actually admins. But I figured admins were already pretty familiar with themselves, so I skipped that one.
I think so too. We tend to know ourselves. Now, I always make a lot of food analogies, so anybody that listens to the podcast will know this. That I've heard that macros are like Pringles. You pop the top. Which, by the way, those commercials that they have out now are amazing because I
Oh,
so
yeah.
want to flavor stack them. Um, but you shared that in some cases uh, what is the best advice that you would have for admins on uncovering maybe some of those other use cases for their particular business?
Yeah, so I would actually recommend admins interview their agents and ask them, hey, what are your top 5 common actions or tickets that you face every day? And once you get that a good list, dig deeper and ask these questions. Figure out what needs to happen, what information is needed, who needs to be involved, and how do you make that all happen with one click. Gathering that info will give you the requirements you need to build impactful time saving macros.
Awesome. And of course, always sitting with agents. That's a big thing close to my heart. I love, Salesforce administration by walking around, being able to sit and chat with your agent or maybe get on Google Hangout. But of course, speaking of interviewing agents, one of the best practices you mentioned is getting feedback from agents early and often. So let's talk about that. Like, what are some best ways that Salesforce admins can do that?
Yeah, totally. So something our product managers and like you kind of mentioned, admins are doing is, and a lot of our customers are doing this as well, is actually shadowing their agents, and they're really watching how they interact with the product, and that's one of the best ways to understand their needs and find gaps. In fact, one of our features that's GAing this summer, Einstein reply recommendations, came about from a product manager shadowing agents. He actually noticed that they had a doc of common replies for chat and messaging conversations that they'd copy and paste. So that gave them the idea to develop Einstein reply recommendations, which suggest common conversation replies using AI. You'd actually be really surprised how many insights you can uncover just by watching people work. Another concept to consider is creating a council of agents to regularly meet with and pilot features with. In fact, actually, one of our customers created an agent advisory board to discuss prioritization and roadmap and prioritize members based on their career goals and influence they have in their locations. And that influence is actually really key because they can act as champions and help support change as you roll out new features, supporting other agents in their location.
I really like that. It's a agent advisory board. That's really
Yeah.
neat. Now, one of the terms you said in your answer piqued my interest, which is Summer 20, which is coming up. What exciting innovation does Service Cloud have in store for us?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. I already mentioned the cool new innovation with Einstein reply recommendations, but what's really making a big splash this release is Service Cloud Voice. Service Cloud Voice is intelligent cloud telephony natively integrated inside of the Salesforce console. So now the companies can take advantage of all those productivity features that we talked about in this session on the phone, just like they would use chat, messaging, or cases. And there's actually a demo in the expo to learn more about Service Cloud Voice, and I highly recommend attendees check it out if they haven't already. And then for field service, we're really excited to launch deep linking for the field service mobile app. So field technicians very much rely on their mobile devices to perform complex tasks, and some of those tasks require them to navigate between multiple tabs, flows, or actions. And now with deep linking, you can send users directly to the right spot in the app. So that saves them time and lets them be a little bit more efficient.
Wow, this is exciting stuff. Thanks for wrapping up all the content in the admin channel today for our first virtual Trailhead DX. So I'm going to throw it back to you with our final wrap up and any call to action for admins.
Yeah, I really encourage you to join the conversation at our Service Insider community. Get on Trailhead, learn more about Service Cloud Einstein. And like I said before, if you have a UE or EE license, you have some Einstein already available for you. So I really recommend you dig in and start using those great features.